Many people believe that the environment is getting worse and the government is not doing enough to regulate it.
There is a debate on whether the state or federal government should be in charge of environmental issues.
On the federal side of this debate, people believe that if the state government were in charge of environmental issues, that it would not be prioritized over issues such as infrastructure, education, and healthcare.
Now, on the other side of this debate, people who want states to regulate the environment believe that if the federal government were in charge of environmental issues, that laws passed regarding the issues would be too broad to meet the needs of every state.
We believe that the state should be in charge of their own environmental issues. Okay, Danette, what constitutional evidence do you think helps support the fact that state government should be in charge of environmental issues?
And that is a great question. Okay, to begin with, for states to control the environmental issues, the Constitution's Commerce Clause lets states, but also the federal government, have the authority they need to protect the environment. To go, we start with Article 1, Section 8, Clause 3, which is the Commerce Clause, but I'm going to phrase it, which is says to regulate commerce with foreign nations and among the several states and with the Indian tribes. So the Commerce Clause is, protecting the economic freedom.
So basically, the government can regulate economic issues within states.
It isn't implied, but the protection on the environment goes with the Commerce Clause because it has frequent checkups and it regulates interstates. Each state is different on how to protect their environment, and not protecting it can affect the economy and the free market and economic benefits. So for the government to let states have the control, we need to pass an amendment of the Commerce Clause, which that is another evidence to say. In Article 5, it's the amendment process, which is 3/4 of the state can ratify for an amendment. For the states to have authority on the environment, states can pass an amendment to protect the environment. At the moment, there's one thing that 3 states are doing, which is they're establishing constitutional rights for the environment called the Green Amendment. An amendment that an environmental issue can fall under also is the 10th Amendment. The 10th Amendment says that power is not enumerated to the government, but it's also not prohibited to the states. It is reserved for the states and for the people.
So that's the idea of reserved powers.
States can use the 10th Amendment to help them control over the environmental issues. So that is a constitutional evidence. States have the control over the environmental issues, but as a nation, states don't have much power, as you guys know, right? Federalism. Whew. For each state to protect its wildlife, they need the help from the federal government.
One way we can help the state governments is by introducing block grants. Block grants are different from categorical grants and revenue sharing. Block grants is the federal government giving a large sum of money to the states with minimal restrictions.
Categorical grants is the federal government giving a large sum of money, money, everybody loves money, to the states for only specific categories. Like, for example, food stamps, Medicare, Medicaid, just some of the category grants that we're right now, just giving an example, that the government adds because the government doesn't want to lose authority or benefits of the federal money.
Block grants still give the government power to where the money is going, but with the states having the authority of using the money and how they benefit. As you know, all states are very different in the United States, as the U.S. is made up of varieties of terrains, which is very fascinating.
Yeah.
What I'm trying to say is block grants gives the government the authority, access to be able to target specifically on their environmental issues for each state.
Categorical grants would restrict many states on how to use the federal money because it would just be way too much regulated, and each environment in the states are just not the same. They're literally all different. So we can conclude that block grants is the best way we could go for.
As well as constitutional evidence, we thought that we should bring up some modern day statistics. Studies show that 65% of Americans believe that the federal government is doing too little to reduce climate change, according to Pew Research Center. Because communities care more about the environment than they did, let's say, 20 years ago, states will be more inclined to write legislature regarding the environment. Firstly, each state has its own unique environmental challenges and resources. From coastal regions to mountainous areas, the geography and ecosystems vary greatly. State governments are better equipped to understand the specific needs of their environment and can tailor policies and regulations accordingly. By giving states more control, we can ensure that the environmental decisions are made with a deep understanding of the local context, leading to more effective and sustainable outcomes.
Yes.
Secondly, the state governments are closer to the communities than they represent. They have a better pulse on the concerns and priorities of their citizens. By granting them the authority over environmental matters, states can actively involve local communities in decisions on making processes. This fosters a sense of ownership and empowerment, as communities can actively participate in shaping policies that directly impact their environment. It's a win-win situation that promotes an engagement, collaboration, and ultimately better environmental outcomes. Thirdly, the state governments are often more nimble and responsive than the federal government. They can adapt and implement environmental policies more swiftly, as they are not bound by their bureaucratic processes that can sometimes slow down decision-making at the federal level. This agility allows states to address emerging environmental issues promptly and efficiently, assuring that action is taken in a timely manner to protect and preserve our natural resources. Furthermore, state governments have the advantage of local expertise and knowledge. They can tap into the wealth of information and research available within their own borders. By leveraging this expertise, states can develop innovative and context-specific solutions to environmental challenges. This localized approach takes into account the unique characteristics of each state's environment, ensuring that decisions are rooted in scientific evidence and tailored to the needs of the local ecosystems and communities. Lastly, allowing state governments to take the lead in their environmental management encourages healthy competition among states. When states have the autonomy to implement their own environmental policies, they become laboratories of their own innovation. They can experiment with different approaches, learn from each other's successes and failures, and ultimately drive progress into environmental protections. This healthy competition can spur states to adopt more ambitious goals and strategies, leading to a collective effort towards a greener and more sustainable future. In conclusion, granting states governments a significant role in environmental management is crucial for several reasons. It ensures that decisions are made with a deep understanding of local context, fosters community engagement, enables swift action, leverages local expertise, and promotes healthy competition among states by empowering states' governments to take charge of their environment.
People believe that if state... Hold on.
I think we need. Look at that.
Oh.
Whoa!
Alright. Like, I was like, what size you guys got again? And she's like,
literally, that was
that did not happen. Anywho.